It started with a voice. Not human, not machine. Something beyond the message was clear, but terrifying. God's final plan is already in motion. I didn't believe it at first, until the lights in the sky appeared and everything humanity thought it knew about creation began to crumble. Before you decide what is real or fake, listen to what this alien told me. You might never see the world the same way again. Don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who dares to question everything. And subscribe for more stories they don't want you to hear. Under the blistering lights of the Nevada Stadium, the air was heavy with heat, sweat, and the tremor of 20,000 hearts pounding in unison. The Titans RFC stood on the field massive, silent, waiting for the whistle that would decide everything. But for Ethan Cole, captain, leader, and haunted soul, the roar of the crowd was nothing but static. His hands trembled inside the bandaged gloves. His pulse matched the throb in his temple. He looked across the field and saw only ghosts. Somewhere beyond the crowd, beyond the flashes of cameras, the voice of Liam Hayes whispered like a memory carved in the dark corner of his mind. You remember what we said? E. You don't run from the tackle, you go through it. The words struck like a needle under his skin. He had tried to erase them for years, to bury them beneath trophies and painkillers and empty victories. But tonight, on the eve of the Titans' first World Cup final, Liam's voice was louder than ever. Ethan had carried the team through 2 brutal seasons, rebuilt it after the crash that had shattered everything. He'd been 27 when Liam died on the field, the same field they'd both trained on since college. One second they were laughing at a referee's call. The next, Liam was motionless on the turf, eyes open to a sky that didn't care. It wasn't Ethan's fault, they said, but that didn't stop him from waking at 3 a.m. Drenched in sweat, hearing that last hit replay again and again. Now, as the anthem echoed, Coach Darnell Rivers stood behind him, arms crossed, face carved from stone. The old man had been through his own hell once, the brightest star in American rugby. He'd fallen hard after a scandal years ago. Coaching the Titans was his redemption story. But even redemption had a cost. Darnell's eyes darted to Ethan's trembling hand. You good, Captain? He asked under his breath. Ethan didn't answer. He stared straight ahead, jaw tight. Good, Darnell muttered, almost to himself, because tonight you either bury the past or it buries you. On the sideline, Aiden Ross, the newest recruit, stretched lazily, his grin too confident, too sharp. Aiden was talent wrapped in arrogance, a kid who thought the world bent around him. Yet there was something magnetic about his defiance. Something that reminded Ethan of a younger Liam. Maybe that's why he couldn't stand him, or maybe that's why he couldn't stop watching him. The whistle blew. The match began like a war disguised as a sport. Every collision echoed like thunder. Every tackle ripped through muscle and memory. Ethan's mind flickered between now and then the sound of Liam's breath in the huddle. The old laughter, the split second before the accident. The field blurred. Time lost its shape. For a moment, he saw 2 games overlapping, one in the present, one frozen in the past. And in that phantom space, Liam's voice spoke again. You never finished it. You never finished our play. He blinked hard, shaking off the image. The crowd screamed. Aiden had just broken through a wall of defenders, sprinting like a spark caught in the wind. Ethan chased beside him, calling plays, directing motion, until a brutal tackle sent them both to the ground. The weight of bodies, the burn of turf, the shock of impact, all of it felt too real, too familiar. When he looked up, he swore he saw Liam's face among the blur of helmets smiling. Fading. Halftime came like a heartbeat, snapping in 2. The locker room stank of blood and adrenaline. The Titans sat scattered silent, drenched, eyes hollow. Darnell's voice cut through the silence. You think this game's about muscle? It's about ghosts. Every one of you has something chasing you. The question is, do you let it catch you, or do you hit back? He slammed his clipboard down. Ethan, you lead the second half. Forget the noise. Ethan looked at the floor. The white tape around his wrists was smeared with dirt and blood. He could feel the bruise blooming beneath his ribs, The sting in his shoulder where he'd fallen wrong, but pain was grounding it, kept him from drifting into the voices. Across the room, Aiden smirked. "You sure you're fit to lead?" "Captain," the words were a jab, but his tone was curious, testing. Ethan's eyes met his, and for a heartbeat, the tension cracked into something raw, electric. "You play your game," Ethan said quietly, "and I'll lead mine." Outside, rain began to fall thin, sharp lines cutting through the stadium lights. The second half started under a storm. The ball was slick, the ground turning to mud. The Titans pushed harder, every movement desperate, primal. And in the chaos, Ethan found rhythm again. His body remembered the weight of purpose. He called the plays Liam had invented, the ones they never got to use. The crowd sensed something, a shift in the pulse of the game. Aiden caught a pass and tore down the field, dodging a tackle, his eyes blazing. For a moment, he looked unstoppable until a defender hit him low. The crack of impact silenced the world. Aiden fell hard, unmoving. The stadium gasped. Ethan froze. The air turned cold. It was happening again, the same field, the same silence, the same stillness that followed Liam's fall. He ran, dropped beside Aiden, pressed his hands to his chest. "Stay with me," he whispered. Rain and sweat mixed on his face. The medics rushed in. The team circled, terrified. But then Aiden's chest rose. He coughed, gasped, blinked up at Ethan. "I'm not him," he murmured, half-conscious. Ethan's heart stuttered. "What did you say?" Aiden's eyes rolled back. "You're not supposed to save me yet." Later, after Aiden was carried off the field, the game dragged on. The Titans won in overtime, a brutal, miraculous finish that would be replayed for decades. But Ethan didn't celebrate. He stood in the middle of the muddy field, staring at the empty stretch where Aiden had fallen. The rain had stopped. The crowd was still screaming his name, but it felt distant, hollow. In the sky above the floodlights, a single drone camera hovered, recording everything the triumph. The silence, the haunted look in the captain's eyes. Hours later, the locker room was quiet, except for the sound of dripping water. The championship trophy sat untouched on the table. Darnell stood beside it, staring at Ethan. "You did it," the coach said softly. "You brought them home." Ethan didn't look up. "Then why does it feel like I lost again?" From the far end of the room, a screen flickered to life. The stadium cameras were looping highlight Sidon's fall. The final try. Ethan's face frozen in rain. But then, the feed glitched. Static filled the display, and through the distortion, for just a second, Ethan saw a figure, Liam Hayes, smiling faintly, mouthing words Ethan couldn't hear. The image faded, leaving only white noise. Ethan's hands trembled. He stepped closer to the screen, heart pounding. The static pulsed in rhythm with his breath. Behind him, Darnell called his name, but Ethan barely heard. Somewhere deep in the crackle of the interference, a voice whispered Liam's voice. "It's not over. The real game starts now." He stood frozen, staring into the blur until it went black. Then he whispered, almost to himself, "What are you trying to tell me?" No one answered. The only sound was the echo of distant thunder rolling across the empty stadium like applause from ghosts. Outside, in the corridor, Maya Reed, the young sports journalist assigned to cover the Titans' rise, waited with her recorder. She had seen enough games to know victory when she saw it, but tonight didn't feel like victory. T felt like a story that was just beginning. A story about a man haunted by the friend he couldn't save, about a team bound by something darker than ambition. She pressed record, her voice low and steady. "This," she said softly, "is the night rugby changed forever." Behind her, the locker room door opened. Ethan stepped out, head bowed, jersey torn, eyes hollow. The sound of the rain had returned. As he passed, Maya caught a glimpse of the words scratched into his wrist. Take the same words Liam had written years ago. "Go through Italiano." And as the door swung shut, she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had happened on that field tonight wasn't over. Something unseen had shifted, like the air before a storm, or the breath before a confession. Ethan walked into the night, the echo of Liam's voice still circling in his mind, merging with the whisper of rain and the murmur of the crowd dispersing into the dark. Somewhere deep inside, a part of him knew the truth. The past had found a way back, and it was waiting for him on the other side of victory.